What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Links and Locks podcast, the DFS edition. I'm Jason Sobel from GolfBet. He is Len Hochberg from RotoWire. We're going to get into the Memorial Tournament. Lots of big name players, lots of interesting plays for this week's event at Muirfield Village. And before we get started, Len, how are you? Happy Memorial Day to you. And I've got some stuff on Twitter that I didn't like this past weekend. I'm not happy right now.
You're not happy?
A little bit. Yeah.
What's up?
The Twitter people are dragging me down a little bit. I said it was probably on the ninth hole. He's probably about to make the turn. Harold Varner playing well, tied for the lead or right there, close to it. And I said, one of these Sundays is going to be Harold Varner's Sunday. Could be this one. It wasn't you should put your money on Harold Varner. It wasn't I guarantee he's going to win. It wasn't even hey, I got a good feeling about Harold. It was could be this one. It wasn't this one. It was not this Sunday for Harold Varner at Colonial. Sam Burns winds up beating Scotty Scheffler in a playoff. Harold Varner shoots a 45 on the back nine, goes triple, double, triple at one point. I probably could have helped him out a little bit. There's not usually a time when I can help out a professional golfer. I might have been able to help him out with a shot here and there. So
you're saying that people on Twitter were not nice.
People on Twitter were not nice. Yes. I didn't realize it before. I thought everyone on Twitter was like super nice. And they were like, hey, that's okay. Man, I got a lot of mean. Well, it wasn't his Sunday. Like 5 hours later. Hey, guess you were wrong. Old takes exposed. Yeah, I get it. Okay. This could be his Sunday yes, I get it. That was a super scalding hot take. And I was wrong about that, Len. So to all the people out there who follow along on Twitter as well, my apologies to them. It wasn't his Sunday. And I apologize for saying maybe, I don't know, could be this one. So yeah, that's about it.
It was kind of hard to watch though.
It was.
He seriously, he's got to get rid of these big rounds. He had one at the Masters. He shot an 80. He's obviously a very good player, top 40 player, but got to get rid of those.
It's not been good for him when he gets into contention. I will absolutely admit that. And I think we all know that. By the way, when the year started, I did a few pieces where I sort of matched up players against each other. Like, who would you take for the whole year? Him or him? And I tried to take like-minded players. I matched up Scotty Scheffler and Sam Burns because coming into 2022, Sam Burns had one win, or I guess he had 2 wins at that point. Scotty Scheffler hadn't won yet, but he kind of knew it was coming. So who would you take for 2022? And it was a very good question at the time. Right now, you'd probably go, come on, Scotty Scheffler won the Masters. He's got a green jacket. He's number 1 in the world. Sam Burns, Len, is not that far behind him. Sam Burns now has 4 wins in the last 13 months. He's really, really good. I'm not ready to say he's at the same level as Scotty Scheffler. All credit to Scotty. Deserves to be number 1 in the world. Deserves everything that comes his way. Sam Burns is not that far behind him. They're really good friends, both 25 years old, both with a ton of talent and a ton of big years in front of them. But Sam Burns is not that far behind.
Yeah, I think that I wrote about that a little bit today in my recap. And I think the difference isn't so much in the regular tour events, but it's in the majors. I mean, even before Scheffler won the Masters, he had been circling in a lot of majors. He's been there. And Sam Burns really hadn't been, but he was just 20th, very quietly 20th at the PGA. So I think that's the next step. And that's the separation for the two of them, that once we see Burns start to play well in the majors, not necessarily even win them, but he seems to be moving that direction now.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a good point. Let's move forward to this week's Memorial Tournament. And this is one, and I feel like, Len, there are a handful. There are a lot of tournaments on the schedule. I mean, there are 48, 49 tournaments on the PGA Tour schedule every single year. And there are a lot of them where we look at it on a Monday as we sit and do the podcast. We say, well, you got to be a good ball striker at this one. And yeah, okay, we get it. Like, yeah, but if you hit it really well from tee to green, you're probably going to be pretty good. You're going to find yourself on the leaderboard that week. Muirfield Village, maybe even a little bit more so. I mean, I feel weird saying it, Len. I feel like at some point we're almost crying wolf. We're like, hey, yeah, you got to be a good ball striker. Tee to green is really important because we say it almost every single week. This week, I mean it more than I usually do. Tee to green is very, very important at this golf course.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I didn't know there were only like 48 or 49 tournaments a year. It seems like 80 or 85 to me sometimes. But yeah, I love Muirfield Village. I love writing about Muirfield Village, and I like watching the tournament. It's Jack Nicklaus. He makes you win the tournament. This is his signature course. What I like to say, it's the perfect golf course. And I don't mean perfect because it's not St. Andrews or Augusta or Pebble Beach or anything like that. But you've got to use every club in your bag, ball striking and other things. Everything gets harder later. He lets you have some room off the tee, but then everything gets really hard around the green. And the back nine is harder than the front nine. And the end of the back nine, 16 and 17 or 18 and 18 tend to be the hardest holes, or two of the three hardest holes on the course every year. You really have to do your scoring on the par fives. That's where you can make your hay on this course. None of them is 590. But even that, the two par fives on the back are statistically harder than the two on the front. So it's just wonderfully thought out and wonderfully crafted. And it's just Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah, absolutely. And other than the David Lingmerth, Will McGirt exacta that we had back in 2015-16, and all credit to those guys. A couple of my favorite times covering this event. But David, maybe my favorite time ever covering an event was David Lingmerth winning this in 2015. He's in the press conference. His wife is FaceTiming with his parents from Sweden and holds up the phone to Jack Nicklaus and said, hey, will you say hi to David's parents in Sweden? And FaceTime was still sort of new at that point. And Jack Nicklaus, like any good grandfather, holds up the phone in front of his face like, hello, this is Jack Nicklaus in Ohio. It's just to this day, it's one of my favorite stories ever. I mean, Jack had absolutely no idea what was going on. He was mesmerized. The fact that he's talking to David's parents in Sweden while he's sitting there at Muirfield Village. He thought it was so cool. And so
that's so funny. That's
two really good years there. But other than that, last quarter century, it's mostly been studs that win at this golf course. And we start looking at the top of the board at DraftKings this week as far as DFS. Jon Rahm, no surprise, he's 11,100. He is at the top of the board, followed by Rory McIlroy, Patrick Cantlay, Colin Morikawa, and Xander Schauffele, the guys with 5 digits next to their names. And Len, it's really hard not to like Jon Rahm. We talk about narrative street all the time. You want a narrative? How about the 2020 champion who's leading by 6 through 54 holes, who gets pulled off the golf course after he finishes on Saturday evening last year, told he has COVID, has to withdraw from the event. Now, granted, John's probably okay with it considering he won the US Open 2 weeks later. It all worked out for him, but there's a little unfinished business going on. I love Jon Rahm this week. The problem in DFS, of course, is if you play him at the highest price, you've got to find some guys to back it up later.
Yeah, I was looking back at that tournament, and he was leading by 6 in an elite field, and of course he could have been caught. Just ask Greg Norman, although Nick Faldo was no closer than the 18th tower last year, but it sure looked like a win. And when you looked at, he won the US Open a couple of weeks later, it just probably the best month of golf in his life. And he only had 1 win to show for it. I'm a little concerned about him. I mean, yeah, he definitely has unfinished business. I'm sure he's been thinking about this for, if not the whole year, but for months leading up to it. But he's not playing as well. His short game, and we do need every club in the bag this week. So I don't know. I'm not sure about Jon Rahm. If push comes to shove, I'm more Rory McIlroy, who's right behind him. Doesn't have quite the history at Memorial, but decent. And of course, has been great of late with top 10s in both majors. So yeah, it's a little dicey for me. But 11-1 is not terrible to have to pay for a top guy.
Yeah, it's hard to parse through this top tier because, like you said, Rory's Rory, and he's been playing well. And at some point, we expect Rory to just say, let's step on the gas pedal and go and for 4 straight rounds and play my best golf. It hasn't happened recently, but it's going to happen, I think. Patrick Cantlay, he's the beneficiary of John Rahm getting the COVID positive test last year. He wound up beating Colin Morikawa in a playoff. Those guys right there. Xander Schauffele right behind him. I still think Schauffele's a little overpriced for that range. Look, if it's not Rahm for me, I don't mind fading these guys at the top, at least in DFS lineups, and let's try to find a more balanced lineup. I think I'm going to have a lot of sort of balanced guys, the 8,000s and high 7,000s this week, if I don't take one of these top guys. But moving down the list a little bit, in the 9,000s, Cameron Smith, Jordan Spieth, Will Zalatoris, Victor Hovland, Hideki Matsuyama, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Shane Lowry. Any of those guys get you excited?
It's interesting because there is talk that there are some similarities, at least skill set wise, between this week and Augusta, which would seem to be a green light special for Cameron Smith. But you look at Cameron Smith's record here, he's played it like 6 or 7 times. He's never been in the top 60. He misses the cut most of the time. I think he's made 2 cuts, both finished in the 60s. It's kind of perplexing. Granted, he's a better player now, but this was even last year. So I'm a little scared by him. Jordan Spieth, I like him at 97. Yeah, he had a terrible week last week. He finished 7th. I know he probably let a lot of people down because a lot of people thought he would win and bet him accordingly and stuff, but he was 7th. And it was an off week. So yeah, I see what you're saying about Xander Schauffele. For Schauffele to be $500 more than Jordan Spieth seems completely out of whack. So in that regard, Jordan Spieth is very favorably priced. Will Zalatoris, probably the best thing that happened to Will Zalatoris last week was missing the cut.
Yeah.
It was kind of expected, but good. Let him have a little break. I like him at 94. He does his best work on these longer, harder tracks. So I like him as well. Shane Lowry, we talk about him every week. And, he had an off week at the PGA Championship. Yes, he finished 23rd. That was his bad week. So I like those 3 guys most in that group.
I like those ideas. Will Zalatoris reminds me of Scotty Scheffler last week, which is missed cut. Scotty missed the cut at PGA Championship, got a couple extra days off, went into the Colonial with a little renewed focus going into that, and wound up, of course, nearly winning the golf tournament, losing in a playoff. Will Zalatoris missing the cut last week. I feel like he comes out to this one with some focus the same way Scotty did. Victor Hovland has not played very well at this golf tournament, 48th and 49th in 2 starts. I look at this golf course and I think it's a perfect Victor Hovland golf course. A lot of 6, 7, 8 irons into the greens, even 5 irons into the greens. This is a Victor Hovland specialty. I will be surprised if he doesn't play better than he has in the past. Hideki Matsuyama won here back in 2014. Hideki's been, I think, Len, over the last month and a half, 2 months, the hardest player in the world to figure out, because we saw him withdrew from the Players Championship before he started, withdrew from the Valero Texas Open after 1 round, had a little neck back injury, and we said, okay, let's stay away from Hideki. They defended his title at the Masters and finished 14th, and we said, oh, all right, maybe we're back on Hideki. Then he took 5 weeks off. We didn't see him. He came back at the AT&T Byron Nelson. I don't know, 5 weeks off, and he was hurt before that. Let's stay away. Finished in 3rd place. Now he's okay. All on Hideki. Let's go. He's ready to go back. Green light. Finished in 60th place at the PGA Championship. Now we go, wait, what? Are we supposed to be on him? Are we supposed to not be on him? I'm back on Hideki this week. He's been very, very tough to figure out, like I said, but I do think this is a really good golf course for him. And then I go down to Shane Lowry, and I have been singing the praises of Shane Lowry and how much I love him for the U.S. Open in 2 weeks. I have a bad feeling. This has happened a lot to me over the years, Len, that the guy that I really like to go out and, if not win a major, at least play really well, is going to go kill his odds, kill his DFS price by playing really well in his last start beforehand. Actually, he might be playing the Canadian Open next week. I'm not even sure about that. But in any case, 2 weeks beforehand, I think Shane Lowry could have a really good week. Firestone, not on the schedule anymore, but Firestone, obvious correlation to the Ohio course like Muirfield Village this week. So I think he can have a really good week as well. All right. The 8,000 guys, Cameron Young, Max Homa, Davis Riley, Daniel Berger, Corey Connors, Joaquin Neiman, Abe Answer, Keegan Bradley, Mito Pereira, Seamus Power. Who you like?
Yeah, in the 8,000s, there's the one pocket. I mean, other than the 6,000s, where I'm struggling to find someone, and it's the lower 8,000s. There's not a lot there that's catching my eye, but I do like Cameron Young. You can't kick the guy off the podium. It's 3, 2, 3. Yeah. Cameron Young and Davis Riley. They're both playing courses they've never played before, or not. I don't think they played, these tournaments before, these courses before. They're coming on. Davis Riley last week at Colonial, where you really could use experience, and maybe the experience factor caught up with him toward the end when he sort of kicked it away on the back nine. Yeah, the weather was the case, but both of these guys are answering every call. And I like Max Homa at 87. This is Max Homa again at another long, hard track. Max Homa happens to lead the tour in par 5 scoring for 550 to 600 yards. That's a real sweet spot for him and very important stat this week. I like those 3 guys. And then all the way down at the bottom of that, Mito Pereira, what a surprise it was last week. Just the fact that he was able not only make the cut, Justin Thomas, Will Zalatoris missed the cut. They went home. He made the cut. He finished 7th. I mean, fantastic performance. I don't know if he's not going to get tired or if he's going to get tired this week, but this would seem to be another good fit in a vacuum. We'll see how he does. I like him.
Yeah, the irony of Mito Pereira rolling in a 22-foot par putt on 18 when he least needed it. I mean, a week after a par would have gotten him a major championship. Yeah, that's a little cruel there. All right, I will start mine with Cameron Young. At some point, we just look at him and go, yeah, okay, he's a rookie. He's really, really good. And Len, I get it. Just like you said, he's playing this golf course for the first time. I would venture to say that based on his game, even though he's had top 3 finishes each of his last 3 starts at Harbortown, at TPC Potomac, at Southern Hills, I kind of think Muirfield Village suits his game better than any of those. Maybe TPC Potomac was right up there, but I think it's a great Cameron Young week. I really like him. Max Homa, 8,700. I feel like at this point, Max is basically playing with house money, and a golfer playing with house money is very, very dangerous when he's already got 2 wins this season. He's already got maybe a spot on the President's Cup team. Sure, he's still playing for that, but I think Max Homa is very dangerous, played well here last year. And then I go down to Keegan Bradley, and I've got some stats here on Keegan. He is top 20, Lennon, strokes gained off the tee and strokes gained tee to green. He's top 30 in approach shots, and he's top 50 around the greens. And I know most of the people listening right now are going to go, yeah, but. And the yeah, but for Keegan is always his putter, man. He's not a good putter. Tee to green is fine, but he's not a good putter. And I would contend he's an above average putter. And people, no, he's not above average. No, that's not opinion. Fact, based on strokes gained putting this year, Keegan Bradley is now, it's not great. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Keegan Bradley is the best putter on the PGA Tour, but he is literally above average in strokes gained putting this year. And so you put all those things together, and I think this could be another really good week for Keegan. He's been playing really solid golf lately. The 7,000s, I tell you what, Len, this is usually a sweet spot. I usually get to the 7,000s. I'm like, I like all these guys. This is usually a place where I see a ton of value. I've only got 3 or 4 guys this week. It starts, though, with Matt Kuchar. Matt Kuchar has played this event 17 times in the past. He's got, I believe, 7 top 10 finishes and 10 top 25 finishes. He's won here before, and he's playing well right now. I think Matt Kuchar is a very, very sneaky play at 7,800. In fact, I'll have a ton of Matt Kuchar in my lineups this week. Moving down a little bit more in the 7,000s, Alex Noren is a guy who's very solid. I like him. Aaron Wise is a guy that I just can't get away from. I just think he's better than the numbers that are next to his name right now. Going down the list a little bit, I get down to 7,100. Luke List has been great since his win at Torrey Pines at the Farmers Insurance Open earlier this year, but I like Luke List this week. And then Stuart Sink has been playing some solid golf, and he's played here. We talk about Matt Kuchar playing here a million times. Stuart Sink's played here 1,000,001 times. He's got a ton of experience on this golf course. I like him as well.
Yeah, along those lines of Matt Kuchar and Stuart Sink, Adam Scott has played here not quite as many times. I think he's played here 13 times. He's missed only one cut. He's had 4 top 10s. He was second to Cantlay in 2019, so fairly recently played this course well. He's only 7,700. That's the sweet spot that we come to in the upper sevens, where the guy can fit in any lineup if you like that guy. Chris Kirk is also 77. He's played well, in this tournament. He played well last week. I'm a little afraid of Jason Day. Classic case of a guy who kills this course. He's great every year, but he's just not the same guy anymore. I'm a little scared of Jason Day. I'm with you on Alex Noren. I'm with you on Aaron Wisner. I'm looking down in the lower sevens to try and find someone there. Again, you might need that position for your lineup. I'm looking at Anirban Lahiri and CT Pan. Lahiri has made, he's playing very well this year, and he's never missed a cut at the Memorial. I think he's 4 for 4. And dare I say, Ricky Fowler plays this tournament great year after year after year. Even last year when he was terrible, I'm not even know why I mentioned him. I'm not. Certainly not after that.
You're already on record. You're on record with Ricky. I will point out, Len, and you and I are speaking on Monday afternoon before the Live Golf field announcement is out for next week. Unless I missed something today. I played 27 holes today. I haven't seen anything unless something's been released, but I don't believe the field announcement is out yet. I think it's going to come out very, very soon, and it might be out by the time most people are listening to this. I am fading the players who might be on that list. In fact, those who will be on that list, there's going to be a lot of media responsibilities, a lot of questions, a lot of players giving them a little side eye in the player dining room. I'm just going to stay away from those guys. It almost feels like, and this is not a perfect analogy, of course, but it almost feels like a college football player playing in a bowl game. And you already know that player is transferring to the team you're playing against. And you're kind of like, I get it. You're playing for us, but you're going to be playing for them next week when you go to spring practice. It's a little weird. And so whether it's Adam Scott, whether it's Ricky Fowler, I don't know if it is or not, whoever it might be, those players, I'm just going to move down a couple of notches this week because I don't think I'm going to love them. All right, getting down to the 6,000s. Not a ton of guys I like here. Troy Merritt, I love the fact that Troy Merritt went after some Twitter trolls last week, a player after my own heart, going after the trolls who are saying, oh man, after the first round, you were terrible. Come on, get after him, Troy. I can't believe I'm saying this. Patrick Rogers, who is a guy that I probably spent 8 years playing him in DFS lineups from the start of him getting onto the PGA Tour. And it usually doesn't work out very well, but he had really good tee to green numbers on Sunday at Colonial. He's a Midwest guy. He's played well here in the past. Not great, played well. I can see some Patrick Rogers love out there. Brendan Steele at 6,600, I think is a really good price for him. Eric Van Rooyen, same price. I like that. Sahith Theegala, 6,500. Boy, it's hard to pass over Matthew Wolff at 6,500. I mean, that's, at any given moment, he can go out there and play as well as anybody in the world. I just, 6,500, that's such a low price. I can't do it. Can't bring myself to do it. But if you really want to, and you're playing a big contest, I don't have a problem with it necessarily. And then I'll throw one really low price guy out there, another Ohio native. He's played here in the past. Justin Lauer. He's not having a Cameron Young, Davis Riley type of rookie season, but he's hanging in there. He's playing well. He's got 3 top 40s in his last 6 starts. At 6,200, He's going to have a lot of friends and family, I'm sure, rooting for him from outside the gallery ropes. I don't mind a Justin Lauer play in a couple of lineups as well.
Yeah, I'm struggling here. I do like Brendan Steele. He's had a good record here. Again, very good tee to green game, and he's at 6,600. Lucas Glover is right behind at 6,500. They're so similar in a lot of ways. Steele is 40th in strokes gained tee to green. Glover is 45th. They both make a lot of cuts here. Neither one the best putter. They're almost interchangeable for me this week. I mean, maybe save yourself $100. Maybe that'll matter to somebody. I know I like to go really low. I'm struggling. I'm not going to go back to Robert Streb, who's 6,000 again. He missed the cut at 6,000, but Tyler Duncan at 6,300 had a very good week last week. He tied for 16th. So, not that anyone's been on my case about Robert Streb, but, but it's sort of an entree to mention Jason Duffner at 6,100. He's really not been a good player for a lot of years, but he comes back every year as a former champion. He makes the cut every year. I know one year we're going to say that and it's not going to happen, but we've probably been thinking that for 5 years. He's not going to make the cut this year. He's not going to make the cut this year, but he makes the cut every year somehow.
Yeah. You know what? You can spend your money on Jason Duffner. I'm not putting my money on Jason Duffner anytime soon. He will not be in my lineup. So I get it. I mean, there's a few. Charles Howell at 6,400. I mean, sure, if you're going to load up on some high price guys. In fact, I just made a lineup a few minutes ago where I had 4 very high price guys, 4 guys in the 9,000s. And so I needed 2 guys in the mid 6s. Yeah, I can see Charles Howell. Kurt Kitayama's been playing really well. He blew up on Sunday at Colonial a little bit, but he's been playing some good golf as well. All right, time to make our lineup. I think you and I are in concert on some of these plays, not all of them, but let's get to it. Let's make a nice little 6-man lineup here. What do you like?
All right. Well, I'm not going to go super up high. I know you have a favorite up there. I'm gonna leave that slot open at least, and I'll go mid-range. And I mean, I guess we could do both these guys, but anyway, I'm looking at Cameron Young and Max Homa, and it's kind of strange that Young is even priced higher than Homa, but all right, Cameron Young, $8,800. Let's see him not do it every week. He plays a course he's never played before, and he does well. Here's another one.
Yeah, I love it. I've got him in my preview this week on the Action Network as the DFS bingo square, the free square. Just play him and throw him in there. Usually it's a guy it's a John Rahm, it's a Jordan Spieth. It's the type of guy that, hey, just this guy will play well this week. I'm not sure I can remember the last time I played a guy that was a rookie who hasn't played the golf course. Cameron Young shows up every single week. And like I said, I think this is a better golf course for him than any of the other ones that we've seen recently. I like the Max Homa idea. I may circle back to that one. Keegan Bradley at 8,100 is very interesting to me. I'm thinking Matt Kuchar. You know what? I'm going to go Keegan Bradley at 8,100. I just think Keegan's playing some very good golf right now. And I just think that looking back, he was 48th at the PGA. Before that, of course, 2nd at the Wells Fargo, 8th at the Valero. He was 5th at the Players Championship, 11th at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Really, really good results for Keegan Bradley over the last couple of months.
I think some of these guys, we almost have to throw out the PGA with the bad side of the draw to hold out against some guys. It's it's really, it's really hard to put that in a negative on the negative ledger and stuff. Let's see where we go from here. By the way, Cameron Young and Mito Pereira, I guess they're both available, still eligible for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be quite a thing.
Davis Riley too.
Yeah.
My vote. If I had to pick right now, and granted it's a player vote, so we have no say in this whatsoever. But if I had a vote and I had to pick right now, Cameron Young's got my vote.
I think so. I agree. There's certainly time to, and if Mito Pereira could have done something different on Sunday, then we'd be speaking differently right now. So it's that close. All right. I see where we're going to go balanced. We weren't really thrilled with what way down there. Let's go with Shane Lowry. We didn't even mention he was 6th here last year. So he hadn't had any good results at this course in a number of appearances until last year. Maybe it took him a while to figure it out. 6th is pretty good for 9,000. He's going to fit in a lot of lineups too.
I will probably have more Shane Lowry investment than any other player this week. So I'm completely on board with that. I think that's a really smart play. And if nothing else, I will play a lot of Shane Lowry this week just to make me feel better in 2 weeks at the US Open, because either he plays really well and it pays off this week, or he doesn't play well this week and then the price doesn't get shorter in the betting marketplace and doesn't get bigger in the DFS marketplace. And so you can still play Shane Lowry at the US Open if it doesn't play. So it's a win-win situation. I love those situations. So in any case, we've got just over 8,000 left to spend per player. I mentioned before, Matt Kuchar is one of my favorite plays on the board. He plays well here every single year, and the recent results are very, very solid. 34th, 12th, 49th, 3rd, 2nd, 16th, his last 6 starts. I quite honestly, Len, I thought Cooch might have been done earlier this year. He missed the cut in 3 out of 4, and the 4th of those was a 67th place finish. And I'm like, I just might be kind of not able to hang with these guys anymore. On certain courses, he can do it. This is one of those golf courses. He knows this one as well as anybody. 7,800. I like him this week.
It's almost like when he was sitting home on Sunday watching the Masters, the final round of the Masters for the first time in forever, that ever since then, he's been really going gangbusters to try and get in the top 50, do something to get there. So, okay, we're down to 2 players. How much do we have left here?
16-3, 81.50 per man. And feel free to spend up. If you want to spend, I'll find some guy that's lower priced.
16-3. Okay. Well, you know what? I think Jordan Spieth's going to have another good week.
Oh.
He's just playing well. He's played pretty well here before. He wasn't great last year. I think he was in the top 20 last year. But again, if there are Augusta parallels to this course, and there are, he should do well here. Let's Jordan Spieth, 97.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. And that leaves 6,600 left. And I've got a player at 6,600 coming off a 9th place finish at the PGA 2 weeks ago. Brendan Steele's playing some really good golf. And look, he's a friend of mine. I talk to him all the time. He's playing really well. And I can tell you that maybe it's just a bias of mine because I know him, but boy, is he undervalued in the marketplace on a weekly basis. I'm telling you, for him to be 6,600 coming off a 9th place finish at the PGA, there's a ton of value there. He doesn't, like you said earlier, he hasn't had a whole lot of title contentions at Muirfield Village, but he doesn't miss the cut either. He's going to be there for 4 days at 6,600. Get me to Saturday, and then everything else is gravy. Let's see what happens. And we're going to throw him in the lineup. Keegan Bradley, Matt Kuchar, Shane Lowry, Jordan Spieth, Brendan Steele, Cameron Young. I really like that a lot.
Yeah, we've got 3 guys that are very 8,800 and up, right? I think we do. Yeah. And, that's a pretty good. So in effect, 3 9,000 and up. That's pretty good when you can get 3 guys who really can win the tournament.
Yeah, I like that a lot. In fact, like I said, I made one with 4 9,000s. Then you got to dip down and figure out the right guys in the mid 6,000s, but you can certainly do that. And you can make a decent lineup this week. I don't think that's a bad way of constructing a lineup for the Memorial Tournament. Good luck to everybody out there picking your lineups. And remember, you can listen to the Links and Locks podcast anywhere you find your favorite podcast. You can listen every single week. Subscribe, download, and rate us. Just give us a good rating, please. For Len Hochberg, I'm Jason Sobel. Good luck with all your DFS lineups for this week's Memorial Tournament. Here's hoping you hit the green.